Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome State Senator Tom Barrett of Michigan's 24th Senate District.
Thank you so much, and thank you for everybody, for all of you who had a role in organizing and bringing this event together. I can't say how much of an impressive event this is, and General, thank you so much for your words, and Governor, thank you for your words here today as well. I'm Tom Barrett. I serve here in the Michigan Senate in this building behind me, and I am actually the only Iraq War veteran in the Michigan Senate. And while my title is as a state senator, I really feel like at the end of the day, I'm an Army grunt. And that's been the feature of my life that I feel is most formative in who I've been and who I've become. And I feel I have an obligation to bring forward the challenges that veterans face as they return back home. And I want to say a special word of thanks to our Vietnam veterans who are here today. I know when you return back home, you were not treated fairly or with respect, but each and every one of you stepped up to make sure when my generation returned back home that we were treated respectfully and fairly. And to that, I give you a sincere thanks from my generation to yours. I really appreciate each of the men and women here from the Michigan Army National Guard and the Air National Guard for your work today, and that 21-gun salute that was just incredible. Thank you for all of that. And King of Battle is the artillery, and they really proved that for us today. I want to just remind everyone that we are really approaching this anniversary of September 11th, a day that was quite a bit like today. A blue sky, warm weather, and then shocked our country and our nation right to its very soul and to its core with this surprise attack that took place that led to the War on Terror. And then the culmination of that last year, we are approaching the one-year anniversary of the very wind-down days of the war in Afghanistan, where 13 service members lost their lives in those final moments and dozens more were injured. And it really is a reflection that I think we have to keep in mind. Everybody who sacrificed, each of our fallen, were a son or a daughter of someone. Many of them were husbands or wives, fathers or mothers, brothers or sisters, or simply treasured colleagues and battle buddies that we served alongside of. I recognize several of the names on that list that was read, and I know many of you here today do as well. And I want to give a sincere thank you to each of the surviving family members and offer our true condolences, whether it's been a year, 5 years, a decade, or 21 years. Each and every one of you are in our prayers, and we give you our sincere gratitude and thanks. I wanted to introduce our speaker today, Michelle Anschuetz, Christian wife and co-founder of Project RELO and Task Force Tribute. Michelle is a serial technology executive that has helped lead iconic firms such as HP, Oracle, and most recently, Accenture. Her fascination with contemporary technologies and their potential to be applied for the good of all has led her commercial success into several powerful philanthropic initiatives, from advising women entrepreneurs and startups with Springboard to the founding of Project RELO. It is this later organization that has me introduce Michelle to you today. Michelle, who is a daughter, sister, and wife to military veterans, is one of the driving forces behind Task Force Tribute. It is her initiative, drive, and passion for preserving the legacies of the great Americans who served and serve our military that has her embarking on a remarkable journey to build a memorial for all that participated in the global war on terror. Thank you so much for all of your work. And Michelle, if you are able to come up and share a few words with us, we would deeply appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Barrett, and thank you, God, for this wonderful weather. We didn't know what we were going to be getting ourselves into, but it's turned out to be a beautiful day. And I want to thank you all for being here today. It is a pleasure and an honor to be here for such an important and solemn occasion. As Senator Barrett mentioned, I'm here today with my fellow colleagues, friends, and family. They're all down here in my second row. our cheerleaders, to kick off Task Force Tribute. Before I get into what Task Force Tribute is, I only felt it fitting to begin by telling you a story. One which is a byproduct of a recent trip I took to Wurtsmith Air Force Museum just this last July 4th. On that day, my husband Christian and I had the opportunity to spend some quality time with two seasoned veterans, Army Staff Sergeant Claire Nash and my father-in-law Norman Anschuetz, both gentlemen in their mid-90s, with the latter being a World War II veteran. As we wheeled the two around the museum, Claire and Norman's eyes sparkled with virtually every exhibit. At one point, Claire, who was in the wheelchair I was piloting around the museum, said, "Is this what I think it is? Those are my favorite rations." And I had to think, said no one, but he seemed to like that. And he was pointing to some old green cans, because I can almost taste them now when I was in the line in Germany. His head, moving from side to side, scanned the many objects around him, taking him back to a time when he manned a machine gun in the fight to liberate Europe from Nazi Germany. You see, we learned that day that Claire Nash joined the fight in France in 1944 as an Army machine gunner in the 42nd Division. As a member of the Rainbow Division, Claire, a native Michigander who still lives today in Tawas, crossed into Central Europe and fought in some of the world's most storied battles, from the Ardennes to Rhineland. As his eyes landed on a photo of an Army infantry, the stories began to fall from his lips. And I will tell you, I can't tell you all of his stories because they were not for this audience, but he said to me, because my unit once liberated a distillery with some fantastic booze, he said. He goes, and unfortunately that got me into a lot of trouble with my captain. Claire then went on to explain that that evening, after visiting the bombed-out liquor facility, he was responsible for laying down suppressing fire across the Rhine. His captain, not satisfied with the amount of lead that was being sent in the direction of the Wehrmacht, approached his team, only to find out they were conserving ammo because it had been largely replaced by bottles of alcohol. He smiled and he said to me, "Michelle, the only reason why I wasn't court-martialed that day is because they didn't have enough bodies." And despite Claire's age, the smile he flashed at me when he said these words looked like it was on the face of a young 19-year-old soldier. Several times during our visit to Wurtsmith, Claire's eyes misted over. I'll never forget when they offered me my first sergeant's stripes. He said I turned them down. And Claire talked, it was clear that while he returned home safely, many of his friends and comrades were not so lucky. Claire then added, he goes, "I didn't accept the promotion because it meant they were taking my gun away from me. And I had a score I needed to settle." In the end, Claire did eventually accept the promotion that would later follow and return to the States in 1946 as staff sergeant. The stories that flowed from the minds and mouth of those two old veterans as we pushed them around the museum were nothing short of astounding. They were real, they were visceral and compelling. They spoke of love, life, loss, and victory. I felt like I was receiving a master class in authentic World War II history from two people and two gentlemen that were there. Besides being in awe of the stories and the content, I was stricken that neither of these men shared these stories and perspectives in a way that could be recorded and preserved. This realization filled me with sadness. How could we allow our country to lose such powerful examples of service, sacrifice, leadership, and courage? How much has already been lost to time, more than anyone can know, and more than I can imagine. Life and time move forward together with frightening certainty, and while that is the natural order, we do not have to lose these stories and perspectives of our veterans any longer. We now have the ability and the technology to capture the experiences and perspectives of our service members in new and innovative ways. And what we can do with that information today would have had made Claire Nash spill his beans for days. While it's too late to capture the the personal tales of Claire's contemporaries, it's not too late to canvass the veterans from the global war on terror and other more recent conflicts. It is what motivates me and our team at Project RELO and Task Force Tribute. Our mission, which is starting right here at the capital of Michigan, which is where our nonprofit is founded and exists, is to honor and remember all those who have served and serve and those that gave their all. Focusing initially on our most recent conflict, we at Project RELO and Task Force Tribute are crossing the country, covering 1 mile for each service member lost since 9/11. Sadly, that makes for a very long trek of over 7,000 miles. Along our way, we will pay tribute where we're able and also engage the military members and veterans to listen to and to seek to understand the examples of service and sacrifice they and others have made while in service to their country. Yet, it isn't just about hearing or collecting these stories or perspectives of our military members. It's much more than that. It's also about creating a platform that will allow our humble heroes to be memorialized, not themselves, but the friends and comrades that never made it back home. And to connect the stories and contents from stories already told and captured by other organizations in a new, innovative fashion that will allow us to honor not just those that fell, yet rather all that supported and participated in the conflict. We welcome you to join us along our route as we cross the country, remembering and honoring our service members who have given their life during the global war on terror, which so sadly started on that fated day in September of 2001. I also challenge others like me who are not military members to be part of something bigger than yourself and do more than say, thank you for your service. Join our journey to build this digital memorial as we bring together the partnerships of military, technologists, historians, and supporters, which will aim to build a place deserving of the character and sacrifices of those who have gone before us. We are truly humbled by the support we've received at Task Force Tribute by all of you, Governor Whitmer, and the team led by General Rogers. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, ma'am. At this time, Michigan's Adjutant General, Major General Paul Rogers, would like to present you with the Michigan state flag and the hope that you will carry this flag proudly with you on your journey, just as our state's flag has been carried and flown over the headquarters of every unit from Michigan that deployed in the global war on terrorism.
Thank you. I will present the Michigan flag to both Michelle and Christian and Project RELO and ask them to have this accompany them throughout their journey to Washington, D.C. So I'd like to present this on behalf of Governor Whitmer, the 10,500 service members of Michigan National Guard, and nearly 10 million citizens of Michigan that love and appreciate our military and the service members and their sacrifice.